Welcome, Crusader fans, to another edition of the Valpo Coaches Show. Joining me today, volleyball head coach Carin Avery. Carin, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you.
Coming to you at a good time of the year. You just got done with the pre-league schedule, starting league play this weekend. Let's just start a brief synopsis of the pre-league schedule. 4 tournaments, 12-2 record, 2 tournament championships. Just overall, what did you see from your team in the first 4 weeks of the season?
We were able to see quite a bit, actually. We saw that we do have a lot of depth, like I told you in the first show, and we were able to use a lot of that depth in preseason for various reasons. The second thing we saw is that there are some definite areas of play that we need a lot of help in, which is what you want to get out of preseason. So we've been focusing on that this week, and we'll continue to focus on it. And I think if we can refine some of the things that we've been struggling with in the preseason, I think we'll have a pretty good conference league play.
I think one area that could probably use a little improvement looking at the early part of the season seems to be the blocking. It's been down from where it's been in past years, and whether it's because of the absence, losing Kelsey Victor, who was one of the top blockers in program history, plus you have a lot of underclassmen playing at the net. How do you work to get that better going into league play?
Well, you're right. It's definitely one of the things we struggle with. Luckily, we're a pretty decent defensive behind the block team. But yeah, we have 2 freshmen and a sophomore middle hitters. Luckily, Rachel Brunsma stepped in as a junior, but she's never played middle blocker here before, and she stepped in and done a good job. But she needs a little work in the middle also. And so it's something we have to continue to focus on, and that's one of the areas I think if we really improve on, that it will definitely help our game come conference. Especially in the conference season, going into the hopefully Final 6 tournament. Like I said, it's something, you can't be great at everything, and some of the things we did focus on was our serving, and our serving's definitely gotten better from last year, which has helped us a little bit. So like I said, it's one step at a time, day to day, and we're hoping to get better at it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you next about the serving, looking at the positive side. You look at the national stats right now, 2nd in the nation in aces per set. More aces than errors, which is always nice to see. And it's not just one person doing it. It's a team effort. I think Kelsey Barrington's leading the team in aces right now, but you have 5 different players in double figures in the category. How important is that when your service game is so good to kind of put the other team back on their heels from the very first touch of the ball?
For sure, and especially I guess when you're blocking in defense, it's something you need to work on. If you're serving well, it kind of takes a little pressure off of you. But we focused on it last year a ton. We focused on it in the spring a lot, and we knew we had some good servers coming back this season. And like I said, we really focused on it. We changed just some people's form. We changed where they stood. And we really put a really big effort into it in the spring of trying to be a really good, solid serving team, which we haven't been here in a long time, honestly. We've had maybe 1 or 2 good servers, and the other rotations we've really struggled. So I think everybody's kind of found their groove, and we're really excited. I didn't know we were 2nd in the nation. That's awesome. And we're hoping again that we'll continue to serve tough when the pressure's on and we get into league play, because that certainly will help us tremendously.
You mentioned the depth of the team this year, playing a lot of different people. Have you you with your coaching staff, are you kind of settled into the rotation now going into league play, or is it still really up in the air?
No, we're not settled at all. And I guess whether that's good or bad, I'm not sure. We've had some injuries, some illnesses, and we've been able to try a lot of different things. And for us, I think it's going to be day to day. If somebody struggles, I think we could put some other people in, and we could start some people if they struggle. There's just a lot of things we can do right now, and we are not settled whatsoever on a lineup. And like I said, hopefully, I told the girls, hopefully that'll bode well for us as conference league play, because I think we're a hard team to scout, because you're not quite sure who's going to play where and when. And so I think we're going to be a really hard team to prepare for going into play, because we don't even know what we're doing. So
that league play starts this weekend at Northern Kentucky at Wright State, and just you look at the league this year, how do you assess? I mean, obviously Cleveland State had a really good early season. Wright State's doing tremendous when you compare where they were a year ago to where they're at now. Milwaukee, their record might be too soon. They always play probably the toughest non-league schedule in the league. Where do you assess where the league's at right now?
Well, I mentioned this before, but the league top to bottom, since we've been in the Horizon League for however many years, no question from top to bottom, it's been the toughest league we've had. And it's always been a tough league, but it seems like we've always had one or two teams that have kind of struggled a little bit. So you kind of got a little break every once in a while, and this year there are no breaks because everybody is playing tremendous volleyball right now. Everybody's playing well. There is a ton of parity. We didn't lose. Nobody in the league lost a lot to graduation last year, so we all knew going into the season it was going to be really tough. It's not a shock to us coaches. I mean, we've talked about it, that this league was going to be tough this year. And, like I said, hopefully our depth, maybe not taking so many swings for some of our players like we've had to in the past. Hopefully we'll have better arms, better legs underneath us this season. So